You can't shame the shameless. Trump will never face justice. Brett Kavanaugh's on the Supreme Court for life. Ben Shapiro gets off on your outrage. So you shame those who can be shamed. And if you call one of us bigoted enough times, people will start to believe it. And then you can feel like you solved racism by spreading lies about a person you have never met and never will, and was doing you and your community no harm. Well done. Shabash. Good job. Every single one of you. You do not deserve grace. You do not deserve sympathy.
So, I don't know what to do with this because I'm not 100% sure what the happened, but bear with me. So, while I have been hanging out with my girlfriend and my fiance over the last week, there's been some really bizarre woke scoldery happening on Twitter. Every 5 minutes, there appears to be some kind of weird discourse happening where it feels like Black Twitter, or at least a subsection of Black Twitter, and the trans community seem to get into some kind of weird scuff. It's happened with me. It's happened with the Soul Bunny thing. It's happened with the Say Her Name thing. It is really weird. And again, it plays into this whole Dave Chappelle, not everyone's going to be able to get enough pie kind of activism. The discourse this time has been about a Twitter user who's fairly well known named Victoria. Victoria was a close friend of Eden, who we talked about on stream, and apparently back in 2013 posted some cringe stuff that was quasi or actually, I guess, racist.
That says 2013, right?
Yeah.
That's a decade ago.
Uh-huh.
Why are we doing this? Twitter, what are we doing? Why? Why am I here right now?
So all I have to go off on this is some tweets because I didn't really look too much into it. I don't follow Victoria. She seems cool, but I didn't have a reason to click with her. Windleby being based, saying, again, just going to point out that the racist behavior here was done by a literal teenager, right? Back when Tori made these comments, she was a teenager. Better hope no one finds out some you said and laugh at you when you were young. She says here, well, George Zimmerman was found not guilty, which is good. And honestly, people only cared about Trayvon because he was black. Now, that is a cursed take. Not going to argue, not going to land. This is a girl who is, as far as I know, raised in a religious cult, who was basically conservative, who essentially was right wing and is obviously no longer, like, at all. But posted this. And of course, everybody's coming out swinging. I'll elaborate real quick of why this counts as criticism and not bigotry. They're not saying I hate white queers for being white queers. They're saying I hate white queers for accepting apologies for racism. But what else do you do with racism? If someone's racist and gets out of conservatism and then apologizes for the previous racism, what else can they do? Oh, and then we have our favorite post. We're going to make you watch it again because you know what? It makes everything better. You guys remember this? If you accuse someone of past racism and they apologize and explain themselves publicly and you still attack them over it, you're not here to fight against racism. You're here to make yourself feel superior by scolding people for not being pure enough, and that helps racists. Do we remember this?
Because you can't impact people who are actually doing your community harm. You can't shame the shameless. Trump will never face justice. Brett Kavanaugh's on the Supreme Court for life. Ben Shapiro gets off on your outrage. So you shame those who can be shamed. And if you call one of us bigoted enough times, people will start to believe it. And then you can feel like you solved racism by spreading lies about a person you have never met and never will, and was doing you and your community no harm. Well done. Shabash. Good job. Every single one of you. You do not deserve grace. You do not deserve sympathy.
So again, always comes back to the Lindsay Ellis quote, full stop. You make me want to myself, get a hobby. I don't get about this leftist bro. It took 12 hours and 20 minutes of confrontation to get an actual apology out of her. Again, she shouldn't need to apologize to individual people. I can't believe y'all, I'm honestly so done with this stupid space. Again, this person is just a child. Fine, leave. You're a rot to the left and serve to destroy trans activists for clout, which is why the largest account that has engaged with me on this, and you're white passing. By the way, hey, look, another links in the bio. I wonder why they are farming engagement on Twitter. True. Lauren, thank you so much for the $5 Australian. All this Tory stuff has happened because she told people to go and vote after a doomer said that people shouldn't vote for Dems because they're useless. Oh, they're doing the Bernie about again. No, you should vote.
Oh, God.
Always vote. Full stop.
Yeah, no, that's not even a hard one. Just go vote for things.
Bunch of woke skulls made the claim that Victoria didn't apologize, adding this to clarity, but I am sorry, and I realize my actions cause harm. I sincerely apologize. Victoria did apologize. You're all still attacking her. You don't want an apology. You want to ruin her career for a tweet that she made a decade ago after she was groomed by her parents into following conservatism. You don't want rehabilitation. You just want purity tests. Destroying trans activists for clout actually is not when a mixed trans person is like, hey, this wasn't a apology. It wasn't one. It was a bunch of explanations and blame shifting. Did not start over from 10 years ago, and it's that dumb. Yes. No, again, I don't know who these people are. I don't care who these people are. They're not my allies. This is insanity. We're not going to go over it again tonight, but I want you guys to understand, like, just as a short, brief thing, Tori doesn't deserve this. If this is true that she was basically groomed into conservatism by her parents, the fact that she got out is amazing. And the fact that people are going after her shit she said 10 years ago is insane.
It's one thing if somebody's like behavior has gotten worse and hasn't changed in the last 10 years and this is just part of a long running pattern. But that's not this. This is like a teenager said a thing.
Mm-hmm.
God. And you know what? I don't expect teenagers to know every goddamn thing about racism. I just don't, right? They're probably going to learn more once they have a chance to move out.
Annie Gal, I 100% agree with you. The problem is that hypocrisy is not an argument. Like I said, nobody deserves these pile-ons. And yes, I know the situation you're immediately thinking of, and there are very real parallels there. I won't get into it now, but I definitely share in your thought. Mixed Dizzy says, all right, you're not going to like what I have to say, but I'm saying it. If you demand apologies from anyone for bigoted tweets they made when they were 17, unfollow me now, because I, too, had awful beliefs, including about cops, when I was indoctrinated as a Christian teen. Guys, I was almost a libertarian in my 20s, okay? I'll be really clear. It was bad. Just saying, real bad. If the police tell you to put your hands up, you put them up, sorry. Again, this is 2014. No one had good takes in 2014. Folks care a great deal, and rightfully so, about the little boy whose life was robbed from him by police violence. But the lack of concern y'all have for the millions of teens in this country who grew up brainwashed by cultist conservative Christo-fascists is depressing. I didn't become a real person until I escaped my parents' house at 23 and started reflecting on my life. For the next 5 years to now, I self-reflected, had extensive therapy, and then came out as trans. I've said a lot of things in my past that I regret, look back on, and feel shame about my past. By the way, saying regret is basically an apology. Suck it. But my past is a product of extensive indoctrination, abuse, and I've been left with PTSD and more. Again, this is actually an apology. And also, by the way, this is an explanation, not an excuse. That previous tweet was bull. If you believe rehabilitation, then you should have zero issues with me being on the left. I've changed, grown, and will continue. Thank you. Adding clarification, I sincerely apologize. I'm not going to talk in this thread about her lib statements in 2020 about the Floyd protests. Yes, they were tone policing. They were a problem. Many libs believe this. We all have lib takes occasionally. They're all gross. Though they aren't all white. With that out of the way, back to the weird I got probs with. Her words about rice hurt, but none of you were harmed by learning that Tori had awful racist beliefs as a teen. I heard from cis folks about the anti-trans beliefs they once held all the time. I don't know what you expect here either. Tori was a minor. There are many such cases. Call me crazy, but I actually hate when people apologize for having held bigoted beliefs 10 years ago that they've since purged and replaced with good stances. What good is a sorry? Are you vocally in favor of minority liberation? Yeah? Keen. That will do more than the weepies. Guilt's a dumb and she can't do a whole lot for you, but tell you, hey, do better. And living forever with guilt can actually get in the way of changing. True. It doesn't actually matter if you're broken up about being a bigoted teen as much as you are about becoming an anti-bigotry adult. You want to know a secret? I used to believe in a bunch of turf. Then I encountered trans women and realized, oh, wow, I'm just bigoted. And I stopped being a bigot because that's what you do. We all grew up in muck of the hierarchy. We're all washing it off. I don't believe any of you little who pretend you were some ideological genius woke from birth. You're either too ashamed to admit you had bigoted beliefs or you're too arrogant to realize that you still do. Again, many people are pro-black. Many people are also anti-trans. There is an overlapping Venn diagram here. Thank you. If you're in the US and have been lucky enough not to meet anyone traumatized by the US Pentecostal movement, welcome to reality. There's a lot of people who grew up that way, and it f***ed up their beliefs 7 ways till Sunday. You're batty if you expect progressive politics from them. I remember the sound of pastors screaming about sexual sin as teens broke down in tears for the sins of gay thoughts. I was told my life didn't matter, only Christ and sacrifice. Kids who believed to live is Christ, to die is gain, are gonna have f***ed up opinions about cop murder. The fact that any of you said Tori was describing a false victimhood is gross to me. Hell no. I'm not faulting her for anyone for that matter, queer or cis, straight, white or radicalized, for having bigotry as a teen in a crazy Christian cult, because I know what it's like. People raised in Christofascism didn't get a chance to at a normal teenhood. We had to live in terror that you can't even begin to process. You don't get what that does to your brain until you go through it. I'm not going to judge you for who you were then, who you are now. I can't believe we're canceling people for this. This is so stupid. And furthermore, are you going to do this to all the POC kids who are kneeling at the altar next to me at the crazy cult churches? Because you better not on my account. That's not trans justice I want. Obviously, you have a right to associate with whoever you want to. And that's why I don't want any of you crazy unforgiving around me who want to cancel a trans woman for bigoted opinions she had as a minor. You people are weird. Get away from me. Personally, what I expect from Tori, i.e. Victoria, is for her to continue to educate herself and others on anti-Black police violence. For example, how half of the police killings of disabled folks and Black people make up a large proportionate that half of which note to her detractors. When was the last time y'all tweeted about that? Especially those of you who are white and able enough to be employed. Some of you are demanding she perform contrition when you won't even perform basic education for yourself and others. What's the use in that? There's nothing to be gained from adults feeling like they need to apologize for bigoted bullshit they said as a teen. I do not want my timeline turned into some kooky leftist teen sin confessional. Yeah, you sucked. Get over it. Don't make me hold your hand over it. There's no such thing as accountability online when it's involving stupid little pricks digging up a trans person said as a minor after a childhood of being reared into a bigoted cult and demanding she answer for the fact her trauma hurts her trauma hurts your feelings. That's useless. It genuinely reminds me of the crazy pastors would say about how the last judgment would be God with a jumbotron showing everyone every sin you've ever did, even as a repentant Christian believer. It often feels like some of you want that kind of hell up, but on earth. You all need to learn what kind of past behavior matters and what doesn't. Having racist beliefs about police violence as a minor teen you now disavow is very different from things such as SA, CSA, financial abuse, cyberstalking, stalking, doxing, etc. Get some standards. The only use in digging up old bigotry people don't believe in anymore is to prove hypocrisy. It's why we do it to Kira chats, because her clique is hypocritical for forgiving her for racist bullshit, but holding everyone else to a different standard. If she gets to move on, so do others. Oh, and this is why you won't be getting an apology from me either. For the shit I believed in my past, you don't want to play by those rules, or you need to get on your knees now, because statistically, you were ableist and you have a lot to apologize to me for. Based.
Damn.
I thought this one was quite great. Leftists be prison abolitionists, but then think tweets from 10 years ago are indicative of your current beliefs. Like, here's the thing. I don't know Victoria, but based on everything I've seen online, I'm really, really sorry that she got attacked for this. And if you are any of the people that did that, get the out of my community. ZZ doesn't want you here. I don't want you here. Full stop.
And no matter what Victoria goes on to do from here, we're still not going to support roasting people and canceling them, and harassing them over something from 10 years ago as a teenager. Like, there's still principles in how we behave and how we treat each other. If you want to be like, yeah, but this other person's doing that, okay, I hear that from preschoolers. We teach them better than that. We work with them to grow beyond that thought. Oh, well, just because he did it, he hit me first. Hey, we have other options to solve the issue, have better ways to cope. We can learn those. We can teach them to each other. So no, we're not going to be cool with people just harassing somebody over something that
they did a decade
ago as a teenager. Heck, even if this was like a decade ago and this was like somebody in their 20s or 30s, like it's still a decade ago.
Yeah, I guess what I'll say about this is that I don't understand the logic of going after someone like this.
LiQWYD Devine is very much in agreement with me. Please act better than my 2-year-old student. Yeah? Yeah?
Like, I gotta be really clear about this. Cancellation is cringe. Cancellation is about digging up old shit or finding something to weaponize. You essentialize it, you abstract it, you then cancel everyone around them. This is how the system works. This is how the system has always worked. Puritanical progressives. This is who these people are. We've covered this both in the Jesse Gender video, which more people need to watch because it's only got 14,000 views, and the recent video we put out on Soul Bunny. We're going to keep using this list because the list keeps being true. No one deserves to have their old brought up when they were basically stuck in conservatism. I had cringe takes. Everyone has cringe takes. No one is sinless. We are all human. We all say dumb shit. The reason I came out as trans was because I got canceled on Facebook for sympathizing with a TERF. I'm not joking. I read an article by a TERF and I didn't realize I was being rolled. I had been a training therapist, and this person had talked about their assault and how they didn't want to see a penis in the women's room. And I, being someone who had worked with many people who had been assaulted, got sucked into that narrative.
And took it at good faith.
And I was, of course, still very closeted. So when I took this way, I suddenly had every queer person I know cancel the shit out of me and go after me. I lost a lot of friends. And then I started doing research. I started digging and trying to figure out what I had done wrong. That's how I came across ContraPoints. It's also why I transitioned. We are all sinful. We are all degenerates. We are all people. This is why we call our channel what it is, wholesome degenerates. We all make mistakes. I don't care what you like. I don't care what your kinks are. I don't care what your spiritual beliefs are. If they don't hurt me, if they don't believe me and mine are going to go to a hell, if you're not actually hurting real people, I don't care. Yeah, Brutus was literally a Joe Rogan fan back in 2017. So what? We've all liked things. I liked Howard Stern back in the frickin' 2000s. Sue me. But Tori doesn't deserve this. And the fact that people like Zena, or Windleby, or Mixed Dizzy came out swinging, I wish I would have known more about this because I would have done the same. I did make fun of some people, but that was about it. I do deeply appreciate the fact that they came out swinging on this. I also highly recommend everyone go to Thena's channel and subscribe because I think Thena does really good work. You can also go to their Twitter, which is at pppeoplecomfy. They're also a member of White Nervosa's group, White Forest. Good. Love these people. So please, please, please just do me the favor of trying to not be dicks to one another. There's got to be better ways. There's got to be better ways to deal with this shit.
Well, we got to stop getting stuck in viewing each single Twitter user as a group or as the system. Yes, there's a system going on around them, but a single person is a single person. That's it. Maybe there's stuff that they participate in or stuff that they are part of, but that doesn't mean that they are the entire system.
Everyone go sub to Thena. $10 Australian for Lauren. Thank you for the super chat. Why does it seem like Twitter wants to screw over trans advocates? First, Keffels. I'll be honest, it's because I think there are a lot of people that are advocates for certain groups, but are not actually progressives. I think there are overlaps in certain groups. It's like the lady who started the say her name discourse, right? That lady basically was anti-miscegenation, she was anti-mix, race mixing, but was then trying to tell us not to use a hashtag that had been used for indigenous women. It's really weird.
Well, and I think the really hard part too with advocating for queer issues or lefties as a whole is that I think a lot of people struggle with how to take everyone into account. And so sometimes we get lost in stuff or people are dumb and go after folks. I think people have a really hard time because they don't always act from a place of principles. They act instead from this is what I'm supposed to do because this is the good thing to do, right? And okay, yeah, it's the good thing to do, but why? What is the principle behind it, right? Poppy and I believe that people could change. We believe in rehabilitative justice. We believe in trying to keep responses, in proportion to what the actual harm or offense being done is, right? And okay, people are offended about this person's past. Okay, is that the biggest deal? Is there a large amount of harm? I really haven't seen that proven, frankly, but having a response that's actually in proportion to what's going on. And so those are our principles. And yeah, I just don't think a lot of people actually act from a place of principles. I think they just go, trans rights good. Because it's good. Because it is. Right? And they might have a few other reasons, but that's about it.
So with that said, again, these cancellations, whenever they happen, we're going to cover them because they need to go over the list. This one doesn't feel like it really needs a full video on the list again. If you need to go back and look at this, Annie, to some degree, I 100% agree with you. I genuinely am of the opinion that most people can be rehabilitated. And if someone's a teen or under 25, my general rule of thumb is that person is not always going to make the greatest decisions and is very easily pushed into things because, again, you're not really fully developed until about 25. And if you have ADHD or are neurodiverse in some ways, spoiler, even after 25, there's going to be some issues.
Well, and especially in our day and age right now, 18 isn't the magic go out on your own age, right? 25 is, there's still a lot of people in their 20s who are still dependent on their parents or still dependent on whatever situation they grew up in. That age, when that shift happens, is happening a lot later nowadays.
I just think we have to have a better way of thinking about this. There's a lot of stuff that happened online. There's a couple things that come to mind right now where people just act it out and want it. They literally just will go for blood. I've seen progressives say incredibly awful stuff about situations where, again, I've seen people say that oh, we should, be okay with this person dying. Should we?
Sure about that?
Is this person potentially savable? Again, every person that we bring back from the brink is another person that can vote, another person that can do activism, another person that can help. Again, the whole reason I'm a progressive is because I have empathy. Why the are we having people get rid of that? That seems like sociopathy.
Right? And we would like people to be able to live in a system, in a world where they can get help, where they can just have mental health services easily available to. That's the world we actually want.
So yeah, Anyway, we love you guys. We will see you guys in the next one. I hope Tori's doing okay. I'm glad she's got her locked down. And anyone else that's been canceled recently, again, no one deserves this. Empathy is key. If you're a progressive, if you call yourself a leftist, the point is to actually care, full stop. So with that said, we will see you guys in the next video. Bye.